remember getting up at 5 a.m. that first day of shooting and getting dressed and driving to the location where we were going to shoot and going past the guard gate and driving onto the mental hospital grounds and just seeing trucks, all these giant trucks.
All these trucks that are there loading all the gear.
Trailers,
food,
catering trucks come in.
Cameras, all these people working.
And people.
Everyone's like, Monty, 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 what do I do, what do I do?
I remember thinking to myself, wow, this looks like a real production. At that moment, it was a realization as to what was actually happening, and that within a matter of minutes, I was going to be called upon to not only direct this film, but also I was the lead actor in this film, neither of which I had ever done before. The first setup of the day was in the bedroom, and it was the scene where I wake up, Steve knocks on the door and says, "All right, rise and shine." And then we shot the first take, and before long, I just sort of fell right into it, and the butterflies gradually dissipated, and I started to feel as though, okay, I'm gonna make the movie that I set out to make.
Monty's walking around with his glasses, and he's got his little notepad, and he's going through the checklist and what he needs to do, and I'm like, I can't even believe this guy.
He's like, get over there, get that scene done. And I'm just like, whoa.
In the beginning, I was trying to act like his acting coach because I was really worried about him, so I'm sitting on the little monitor, and I'd see him, and I'd be like, all right, Monty. So you're in the room, and you wouldn't, as a person living in the moment, you wouldn't just be looking at someone in the eye having a straight conversation. So play with something on the wall or something. And then he'd start doing it, and then he'd be like, I just don't feel comfortable doing this. He goes, you know what? Let me just try to act this thing out. And that was it. And then it was total boredom for myself until my scenes came up.
All right, that's the first day. It's a wrap.
Day one is over.
Self-medicated.
Woo. Tell you a little known fact about me. Not many people on that set know that was actually the first time I've ever been on a set, ever. So that being said, I think it went pretty good. I was just on a cloud. I felt like, wow, this is really happening. Day one is in the can, and you are living your dream right now. Basically, that's what it felt like. Certainly, I was never treated with outright disrespect, but I did notice that I wasn't treated in the way that one would imagine the director of a film set ought to be treated, which is understandable because I assume that in their mind I had to prove my worth before I was going to be treated as a director.
Action!
I'm locked in the standing room think tank, as we call it, and he's talking me through the glass partition.
Now you stand there and you think about what you did to get in there.
That scene called for a violent argument.
Bullshit, I ain't standing in here for an hour.
And during one of the takes, I
Fucking bullshit.
hit the glass.
He broke a really solid pane of glass.
His knuckles were bleeding.
Had a little glass in there, not too bad.
And everyone there wasn't expecting it.
And I just remember thinking, well, damn.
That's the shot, baby.
The crew sort of, there was a sense that
He's tapping into something real and to watch out.
and that marked a turning point in the way that I was viewed by a lot of the people on the crew for some reason. I really think so.
Well, as a oneer, I mean, you don't get another shot.
Fucking bullshit, man.
There's a point where those people that are working for you and they're around you, you really got to let them know that you're not screwing around here.
And he also had another scene where Olo takes him down. She's like, get off of me, get off of me. And he just went all out, and they're like, okay, cut. And then everyone just started applauding. And they're like, great job, Monty.
It was as if every day was a new test. There was just always something lurking later on in the schedule that everybody was aware of. And it was, is this the day that the House of Cards is gonna fall?
Very quiet, everybody.
And the scene with Gurman was one that I was nervous about because that was a more dramatic scene that was gonna tell whether or not I was gonna be able to handle the subtleties that were in the script. A scene with beats.
Just talking with somebody, I could. Okay.
It's really a challenge for an actor to pull off a scene like that, and there was a lot riding on it. But after the first couple takes, we sort of fell into it. It was such an exciting feeling to be shooting that scene and to know that, okay, we're getting it. And after a while, the crew and the lights sort of just dissolve into the background, and there's a sense that you and this other actor are just having a conversation.
Are you done?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm done.
Good. If you don't mind, I have a toilet to clean.
Today was probably the best day of my entire life. And that is just so weird to be able to say that and to think, what day could I have ever had that was better than today in my entire life? I mean, great times, but a particular day, this day was probably the best day of my life. It was amazing, man. It was simply amazing. So many of my doubts are gone. I know that we have something. I believe in my script. Everything that I ever second-guessed about the script, about my ability, it's gone. I have the confidence I need to make a good movie, and I think that this will end up being a good movie.
I will say at one point I sat back and I saw the whole production, and at the same time, simultaneous, there was a makeup gal touching up Monty's face, Shane's face, and Richie's face, and I thought, what am I doing? I was just standing out there and I just had a little moment of like, you know, what is going on?
Michael Bowen was my first choice for Dan. I had seen him in Magnolia, where he plays a little game show kid's father, and he just has that quality about him where I just knew he'd be perfect for Dan. So we set a meeting, and he never showed up to the meeting. So obviously I took that to mean he's not interested in the role, and we ended up casting a guy by the name of Frank Whaley. He was in Pulp Fiction. He made us buy him a first-class air ticket from New York to LA. He's actually a really tremendous actor.
Don't know much about the guy, never had the chance to meet him.
3 days before the shoot, where he was scheduled to shoot for 6 days, I got an email from Lindsay Shagg saying that Frank Whaley has just dropped out of your film to go shoot a bit part in a studio film. And this was, of course, devastating news for us because we have 3 days to go before we're scheduled to shoot with no lead actor. I didn't know what to do. I called Lindsay and I said, hey, Lindsay, what are we going to do? Is there any way that we could reapproach Michael Bowen? Did we ever find out why he was a no-show to that meeting? Maybe there's a chance he'll consider it. Let's call him.
So they hunted me down and...
He came on board with less than 3 days to shoot, and it was very fortuitous in a way because he was my first choice from the get-go. Unfortunately, when Frank Whaley dropped out of the project, we tried calling him to see if there was any way we could get him to return that air ticket to us because we could release that money, but we really couldn't get a hold of him. So I tried calling the travel agent to see if we could somehow get a refund on that ticket, and he said, you know what, it's funny that you're calling me right now because I just got a call from Frank Whaley, and he was asking me how he could sell it.
$4,500, nice to know you.